generally speaking, independent health food stores are where you're going to find the new cutting edge products that are coming out in the industry. Normally, the playbook, what happens is a brand will come out with new products and they may pitch to the large big box stores, and the large big box stores will say, show me the data. And in our industry, we have spins, show me the spins data. And spins data collects and aggregates you know, the times a certain product that barcode rings through a scanner, and that gets compiled into the spins ecosystem. And so these big box stores, and they're probably looking at other points of data too, but they're looking at the data. They don't want to make a gamble on a new product to bring out in their 2,000, 5,000 stores, make an investment, and then it doesn't sell. They're less likely to do that. So new products really get launched at the independent level. And then after the independents have brought it on and educated the customers about these new products and the reason why they're special and the quality of these products, after that demand has been built, then normally a lot of times you see big box stores carrying those products. And, little trade secret, a lot of times they actually are not the same product. I propose a giant stamp on every single product that says made for food truck mass, like a giant stamp, like the non-GMO stamp, like the USDA organic, just a big stamp, food truck mass quality. That's what I would like to see. Just so people know on the front of the bottle, not the back of the bottle. So on the front of the bottle when they're reading, they're like, "Oh, this is a food truck mass product. This is a big box store product." Got it. That's what I would like to see. They're not going to do that because they want to make it so tricky. They want it. Here's the point. Here's the truth. They want consumers to believe that they're buying the same quality product, just at a cheaper price, but they don't want to know the details.
And I want to make a point here that come full circle here, and my little slogan there, saving natural products, by saving on natural products. And maybe that's a little too dumbing it down, but I think it's an interesting point that you made, Micah, when you said when they do this, they try to fool people by making a lower quality product for the mass market. They base that on price. So they say, Joe Schmo walking into Kmart can only pay, we've figured it out, and it's $17.29 that Joe can pay, So we've figured out that'll give you about 1 milligram of each vitamin in this piece of candy, and that's what Joe will go for, So that's how they formulate.
Yeah.
But here is the thing I think our industry really struggles with, and this is a great, I think, pivot perhaps to talking about Save Naturally, is that we want to, this is what I think all of us want, to continue to give people those quality products, to not compromise on quality. Because if you go beyond a certain threshold, you're not even going to move the needle on people's health. It's not just a matter of, oh, we'll only give you 80% good health. At some point, we're just not doing anything because there is a threshold on potency and quality where it's just, at some point, it's just, I see ineffective products in the mass market all the time. The worst thing is when I see them crossing back over into the natural channel. They started in mass market, and now I can think of a few, we won't, again, name names, but electrolyte products where I'm having to tell people that is not a good electrolyte product. It started off in Kmart, and now it's in the neighborhood health food store because that sometimes the way things work. But I wanted to get to Save Naturally and how helping people to save on products that they buy at independent health food stores may be bridging that gap, because we know the brands that Save Naturally is working with are quality brands, that they do have people's health in mind, that whether consumers know it or not, they're getting a therapeutic product. Every brand I can think of that I know that's working with your platform makes quality therapeutic natural products and not some ineffective garbage.
Well, it's easy for us too, right? And I appreciate you, you plugging us in this conversation. And it kind of ties back to what I was saying with Micah as well, that there's a piece that's missing in this independent layer, and it is data. Right? It is like how are we selling? What products are selling better? And that's one of the things that we report on everything, right? Like in regard to when you run a campaign, a product manufacturer runs a coupon campaign on our platform, we provide the data, right? We you want to see what's being sold, where it's being sold, new customer, recurring customer. Are they buying it when it's just on sale? Are they buying it off sale, right? Like we have the ability to look underneath the hood and give the product manufacturers the data that they're yearning for effectively, to prove just how, like, so you're getting the reorders, and that's fine. Some people are fine with just reorders. Like some they're like, well, if you're just reordering, I'm fine with it. Like some sales reps, right? They care more, my commission's getting bigger, and that's great because I'm getting these reorders. The internal sales reps, but that's not just what it's about. It's like, how can we become better for the not only the end customer, but for our independent partners, right? Like, and I think that's one of the things that ultimately happened also is there's a lot of, this isn't a bad thing, but there's data chasing, right? Like, where can I see my customers' information? I could see in DTC, I could see in Amazon, I could buy this data in large part as well, from spins, right? Which is just, aggregating sales data. But I have no idea really, like, my customers' tendencies and my end customers, and who's loyal to my brand, who's that sort of thing. So yeah, being able to save, right, helps engage with the end customer, right? It does, and that's the thing. We're very, and the reason why we work, it's really easy for us, and the reason why you see the type of brands that we work with and the product manufacturers we work with, because we only work with independents and co-ops. They're doing literally the heavy lift, like what Micah said, in vetting all of these products that we work with, because we know exactly who we want to work with and we know what stores we want to work with. So we go out and we're like, we're only going to work with independents. We're only going to work with co-ops. And here's the reason why. Because we know the products that are going to be put on our platform are the products we want on our platform.
Well, let me ask you a question specifically about discounting and kind of the concept of shock pricing. Because, I think with MAP and the idea of, like Micah was joking about the Amazon SRP, right? Like if you have, let's say your SRP is $20, right? And your MAP is 20%. So you're selling every day on Amazon for $15.99, and ideally everywhere else, right? I think I did that right. Did that in my head. Sorry, guys. Okay, so your everyday price, your SRP, if you will, your Amazon SRP, your MAP is $15.99. Arguably, that, as you're alluding to with the SRP term, that that becomes the everyday price. It is essentially an EDLP. Now, the entire time I grew up, again, dating myself a little bit here, and this is still the way it is at the grocery store, but, the idea of TPRs. So you see like a little sale tag. Hey, this product is normally $20, but today, big sale, it's $15.99. And maybe it's not just that day. It would be 2 weeks. Most of NCG, infra groups, work on either a 2-week or a 4-week period. We're talking about like monthly sales, or bi-monthly sales. And I wonder, that idea of shock pricing is something we were actually taught in economics. This is how you drive sales. There are some amount of people that will buy product A for $19.99, the SRP, every day of the week. But when it's $15.99, it's on sale. I think the idea is generally that people will either choose brand A over brand B, but also stock up a little bit. They're asking the consumer, hey, I'm getting a good deal. I'm going to buy 3 jars and put them in the cupboard instead of just my regular one. And we could use some, abstract product, but you guys get what I'm saying. The idea of shock pricing, of discounting for a temporary period of time, to me is so baked in to capitalism and just the way free markets work and consumer, economics. But it really seems like it's going away. And I think this is kind of what Micah was sort of alluding to with MAP, is the race to the bottom phenomenon. In other words, if the new online SRP is $15.99, whether it's violating MAP or not, there is somebody that's going to try to go to $13.99 just so they can capture some little bit of sales, and there's no bottom to that. So, I mean, again, plugging Save Naturally, I would give a little contrast to where, if you have whatever your SRP is really at the store level every day, and I see your platform, I see the Save Naturally sign, which generally has, I mean, is this still you guys are doing the dollar amount saved?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of percentage, we do like a dollar amount. So it's easier for the customer to understand exactly what they're saving. They see it, $20.99. Okay, this is gonna be $19.99, right? So it's really easy for the customer to digest.
So like at Be Alive, if I go in and, you already said you're setting your SRP at the online map because you have as a given assumption that you have to compete with the internet. So if the internet has it for $15.99, generally you're pricing it at $15.99. You're using the map SRP. Is that
100%. Yeah, let's make a drastic example. You see this a lot more in the protein industry, in the bodybuilding industry, and we don't carry this brand anymore, but they had just, I mean, circus dollars. I mean, it was just like, it doesn't make any sense. It was Looney Tunes. Their SRP was $256.
wow?
Why? Let's make it a billion. Let's make it a trillion. Let's make it a zillion. Let's make up a Google number, right? Let's
That's
do
got to
it,
be
right?
some really
And then
good
let's sell it
protein.
off at a trillion% off, right? Doesn't matter, right? So they kept raising their SRPs, right? So at one point it was $256 as an SRP, right? And just doing quick math, we would sell it at like 90% off every day, right? So we would sell it for $25.60. And that's what Amazon was selling it for. It was like $25.60. So we just did that. Can you just imagine if we sold it? Can you just imagine if we sold it for $256, 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year as the price? And then temporary price reductions would happen. And like, let's just say once a quarter. So, 4 months out of the year, right? We would do a temporary price reduction for $25.60. Save 90% off. No, 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 no. What's going to happen is consumers are going to look online. They're going to realize, holy shnikes, I can get this product for $25.60 on Amazon, online, on the internet, every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year. Why am I trying to play a game? It makes no sense.
But
So,
but for you to do something like that, though, they would need to be selling it to you for, you need to make your margin, whether that's 20, 30, 40.
well, so yeah, so right now, like we're discussing what, like the ludicrous nature of like this SRP number, right? So we just decided, I mean, let's make easy numbers, right? Like let's just say the SRP is $10 and the MAP price is $8. We sell it every single day at $8. Some retailers will sell it at $10 every single day and then do temporary price reductions and sales and stuff like that and get it to you at $8. But we find that as a disservice. We don't want to play games like that because we know that people can find it. If they can find it every single day at $8, we're going to sell it every day at $8 because we want to be the best price. We want to help people save all the time. We don't want to play these games with SRPs and 90% off here and, oh, you missed the sale. Got to buy it at $100 million. We don't want to play games like that. And some people are playing games like that. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen like the online jokes, right? It's like the big box stores will sell it for $100, and then like Black Friday's coming up and it'll be like $100, and then Black Friday finally comes up and they say $200, 50% off, $100. And they like trick people like that, which is illegal. It's illegal to do that.
Did you
It
see
is.
the woman that went through one of the chains and it had the Black Friday thing and she pulled it back and underneath it, because they just put it right over the top, it said the same exact price. It's on sale for $100, but then she just put the Black Friday thing right over. It's like it was already on sale for $100.
Right, right. So to kind of like get back to Rob's point too, it's just like we want to price products at the best price every single day, the MAP price, the lowest price, and we know that people can just scroll online on their phone, right? And it doesn't make any sense for us to try to like trick people. We don't want to do that. Other people do that. We don't want to do that. And so yeah, we sell everything at that price, and then from there, Save Naturally helps us save even more money for our customers. So people love it. So, Billy called me and was, explaining Save Naturally to me, and it was just a light bulb moment, right? It was, Billy, what did I keep saying? It was like a no-brainer, and it was a home run. Those are the two things I kept saying. Because at the end of the day, right, if we're selling it at the MAP price and the internet and online and other like, places they're selling at the MAP price, then it becomes, a matter of convenience and distribution. Okay, so now we have to like fight that. Well, the customer still has to like they could get maybe a 2 hour delivery or, whatever. But they gotta like, get out of bed and put on pants and like then they gotta like, go into their car and like use their gas money, which is like $1 million a gallon. Then they gotta like drive to the store, risk getting into a car accident. Then they gotta like, find the product on the shelf. Maybe they have social anxiety. They don't want to like, talk to many people. Okay, sure. And then they have to like wait in line. Then they have to check out. Then they have to go back in the car, use more gas money, finally go home. There's a lot of friction. Sure, I get it. So the least that we can do is save people money. And so if money is the motivation, and we can run these like $5, $3, instant savings for our customers, and now they can save 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks a pop every single visit, that becomes a very strong incentive for customers to be like, oh man, I mean, yeah, I could stay at home or I could save like 50 bucks now.
And it
Um,
stacks right on top of your loyalty.
Yeah. And so, I mean, one thing that I didn't mention to Rob is like, we do have a loyalty program, and not only do we sell, we discount. I don't like using that term, but we do. I mean, technically, everything is sold at a discount, right? We sell everything at the MAP every single day. But then on top of that, we have a phenomenal rewards program from ECRS, and that allows us to save even more money for our customers that we subsidize in our end, and then we use the Save Naturally platform, which is kind of like a form of a manufacturer coupon that allows us to save our customers more money because the product manufacturers are subsidizing that. So
So in,
it's a phenomenal partnership.
yeah, so we work with so we integrate into the point of sale system, and we streamline the savings right to the end customer, right at checkout. They enter their phone number right at checkout, and they'll get the loyalty, right? They'll be the part of the store's loyalty, and then they'll save on the product manufacturer coupon. They don't have to digitally clip a coupon. They don't need to download an app. That's not necessary for the end customer to do. So yeah, for us, it's like we have in our relationship, like again, independents and co-ops. That's who we want to work with. And then the product manufacturers, they come to us and they say, hey, we want to run this campaign. We're doing it on a quarterly basis right now. We want to run this for this quarter. Okay, cool. And so, yeah, we, in this region, right? So each region has, X amount of independents, whether it be a 12-store chain or one store retail location. And they say, hey, let's focus on this region and we're gonna give you X amount. Here's our budget for it.
I just want to add another anecdote for this because, and I wish I had it in front of me. Retailers hate paper coupons. We have to keep track of it. It's labor intensive. It's just another thing that we have to like take care of and stay on top of, and we don't have time for that. So, quick anecdote, one of the largest supplement brands in our industry, we're still running the paper coupons. We collected them dutifully. We put them in a letter and we sent them to the clearinghouse. We went to the United States Postal Service and they weighed the envelope full of the coupons and they said, okay, you owe us X amount, right? And we sent it off. And then we never got reimbursed for that money, right? We subsidize those coupons, right? Let's just say it was maybe $300 or $400 worth of coupons. We subsidize that. That should be ours. We subsidize that. The company is supposed to be paying us back. So we send it to the clearing, never comes back, right? 1 month, 2 months later, we finally get it back. And for some reason, I don't know if someone was having a bad day at the USPS, but they put a bunch of stamps on it, like more postage needed, and they circled like, $1.50. So we we have to pay an extra $1.50 for this to go back to the clearinghouse correctly for us to get reimbursed, for them to send us another check that we can deposit in our bank account. I mean, look at how much labor and time has already been invested in this like clunky operation. So, uh, and I don't know why they didn't weigh it correctly in the first place. We went to the cashier and they weighed it. So it doesn't make any sense. So even if you go inside, you still mess up, right? You can't win here. So with Save Naturally, we can save the customers in that moment in time. The customers are happy because they're saving money in that moment in time, and then we get reimbursed via ACH from Save Naturally. So now we don't have to like hunt down paper coupons and make sure that the check was in the mail and that it was properly weighed, and we're waiting on the check for reimbursement. We don't have to do that anymore. Um, Another thing that I found is brands also don't like paper coupons because sometimes stores will just take the full wad of coupons and
Yeah.
put them in an envelope without actually merchandising them, and then send it off to the clearinghouse, and then just get, oh, sweet, I get another $400, $300. Okay.
Which is
That's not the
fraud.
point of the product manufacturer coupon. The point of the product
Actually,
manufacturer
yeah.
coupon is to put it on the product to incentivize a sale. And then I've heard other horror stories like, brands saying their competitors, other competitor brands will come in and they'll take the paper coupons off the shelves. And then in our stores, we've had a few instances where like a customer would see the full stack of coupons, right? Because we would like tape them on there. They would grab the full wad and they'd walk out the door with them. And what's the motivation behind that? Well, the motivation is because they don't want Be Alive or our retail stores to run out of the paper coupons. So they found it a better investment to come, maybe once or twice a week, or once a month, and come with that wad of coupon and then use it every single time they came and made a purchase. And now you've just taken away the opportunity for all of our other customers to enjoy those savings. And so there's so many reasons why we want to get rid of paper coupons. But anyway, I just wanted to share that
And on the
anecdote.
product manufacturing side, right? Like product manufacturers, we heard some stories from them in regard to digitally clipping, and like they get charged an impression for that. There's no impression fee for ours either. So we have skin in the game. We don't charge anything until the product gets purchased.
Well, and I just had a little bit of deja vu as we're sitting here and you guys are talking. I was thinking, I did want to work in, our conversation about Positively Natural, but it was interesting to me because these are the kind of conversations that were happening at Positively Natural, earlier this year. Thinking back to August, a few months ago, in Vegas, and all of these conversations, I think it's such a great place. And I think maybe you'll have to tell me, Micah, because I did want to give one shout out on you got the ECRS One of Us Award for Be Alive. And I wonder, you'll have to enlighten me. Is an ECRS conference, is that anything like a natural products trade show, or is that spanning like all facets of retail?
Well, it's not really like a trade show per se, where these other supplement or grocery companies come in and sell their brands, but it's a conference that ECRS retailers attend, and they have great educational seminars. How to stand. There's so many things with ECRS. Like, I love ECRS. ECRS has so many different departments. Their marketing departments, their transaction security, their web cart, their loyalty programs. There's so many things you can do with ECRS, and staying on top of everything is kind of difficult. And the other beautiful thing is that they come out with so many innovations every single year. So you really got to stay on top of it. So I love going. They call it Ignite. Um, and I find it always just really awesome to meet the people face to face that I'm like writing tickets with, like with the marketing team and with the web cart team and the loyalty team. And so I find it very nice and helpful. I don't know, just refreshing to like put a face to the name. And then I love the educational pieces just to learn more about it. Um, and then they do have like a section where their partner companies can come in, for like maybe merchant services. Save Naturally was there, and like hardware devices to show retailers like these are the new products that are integrated with ECRS that you can implement in your stores to help you be a better retailer. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about ECRS.
And that is just logistically, Billy, if I could ask, because I'm genuinely not aware here, but is ECRS the only platform that Save Naturally works with in terms
Well,
of?
Currently, yeah, we're integrated into ECRS, which is they're the biggest. They have the most independent retail locations underneath their umbrella. Yeah, fortunate enough to be working with them. So any retailers that utilize ECRS, we will be integrating into other point of sale systems as well. But yeah, ECRS is a great partner to us. And I just want to say to Micah, like I want to piggyback off of what Micah was saying in regard to kind of their education. It would be really cool though if they did have some product manufacturers at their show. I think it would be if they had like a room like in between educational things where retailers, right, they're spending the money to go there for sure to get educated on ECRS, but to have the opportunity to write some orders as well, I think would be amazing. That's just like because my experience, right? I was there this past year and we had a booth. We were invited to showcase Save Naturally, and it was great, right? But it was cool to see these retailers going and getting educated on things, and I think this is a good segue, and I think we're probably running out of time. But in regard to Positively Natural and other independent retailers or independent shows, I should say, independent retail trade shows, um, like Positively Natural, is the, adding that element of retailer education. I think will be enormous. Because the thing, right, is like independent retailers knowing where they need to go, right? That was one of the biggest feedbacks we got from the last trade show was independent retailers knowing, especially like West Coast, Southeast, East Coast, Midwest, right? Knowing where to go for these shows. And that's the thing that I think is adding a layer of a retailer leaving based on, okay, this is how I know I could get my store better, if you will, right? Like, because you could get educated on product manufacturer goods all the time. I mean, they come to stores and they train and they do trainings at the stores. They do virtual trainings. They do trainings all the time. Product manufacturers, like they should be doing that at the end of the day. You should be educating your independent retailers so they can go educate the end customer. That's the whole point. But for a retailer to then get educated themselves on how to best optimize my store, how to leverage, right? How to best leverage ECRS, for example, for someone who can't make it to Ignite but can make it to another show because of cost. Or how to best leverage infra, how to how to become kind of how to make my store better at the end of the day.
And I just want to say this, Rob, to your listeners. If you're a retailer, highly recommend going to the Positively Natural show and a lot of these independent shows, because these independent shows, I believe, my own personal opinion is that we are seeing a landscape shift of products being seen on the shelves. And as these legacy companies are devaluing being on the independent store shelf, they're valuing more being on the big box store shelf because they want to see that crazy lift in ROI or whatever, increase in sales. It leaves a lot of opportunity for new unique, high quality brands that want to do it right. And they have the ability to go to these shows. And if you're a retailer, you can go to these independent um, shows. You know, Soho's another one of my favorites. And you can find new, innovative products. And that's what's going on right now, is that there's a landscape shift from legacy companies to new, innovative, boutique, high quality brands. And we're seeing that right now. And when you go to these trade shows as a retailer, you're seeing these brands and you can meet a lot of times the owners of these brands, and you can get educated on that. So I truly believe in the next, I mean, now next 5 years, this landscape shift is happening. And I highly recommend people going to the Positive and Natural show. Again, Soho's favorite one, and then Maho as well. I'll be attending that one. Can't recommend it enough.
Well, and not just Soho, but I know Food Movement will be at the Simpa Health Fest. I mean, not just the
Yep,
Soho.
I'll be there as well in Texas. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really exciting to see this shift that you're talking about, from maybe the biggest trade show to the more regional targeted trade shows, because I do think those smaller, more targeted trade shows better serve the independents.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably just gonna kind of bypass the bigger chains. And that's great to my mind, because I think it's sort of just dialing in what this industry really is, what natural products really means, where's the line? How do we differentiate? Yes, product quality, but if you can level the playing field, I think people will choose, higher quality products. They'll choose independent stores. They'll make the right choices. I think the problem is that big box and e-com, to some extent, even if the quality is not there, the marketing is so heavy, that it's really in people's face. And I'll just leave you with this thought. I see people all the time, and they know that I work in natural products, and I know they trust my opinion. Oh, well, I just bought this because it was on my feed, or what is it? And it might be a good product, it might be a mediocre product, but it's just so disappointing to me when people don't get the opportunity to compare. If I go to
Mm-hmm.
Be Alive or any other independent health food store and I want to buy a product for digestive health, you have a whole section of products where I can sit there and compare. Well, this one has, N-acetylglucosamine. This one has, L-glutamine,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure not everybody gets as nerdy with supplements as I do, just sitting there and looking at milligrams and stuff. But it is really important, because like those dosages and those formulations are directly related to how effective the products are. And when I see a really well marketed product that somebody bought because they got them, you know what I mean? Like it was like, bam, here it is online, the miracle cure. And it's nothing. It's not a good formulation. I think it's because, you know, we're losing the gatekeepers. We're losing, really the health food stores have been the protectors of product quality and of having good formulations on the shelf. First, we were cut out by price, right? It was like, oh, the internet's cheaper. Well, now we're addressing that with Save Naturally and a lot of other innovations, right, that are kind of keeping this pricing. So it really is a level playing field. Hopefully, with good companies, they're seeing the value in this conversation and like, hey, you got to give the independents a leg up, or at least a level playing field to sell quality products and make a decent margin. But this idea of just overhyped products, and I think you kind of alluded to this. I mean, there's been, I won't even name the products that have been overhyped lately. It's just this revolving door of, oh, castor oil is big. Well, castor oil has been around for like a million years, and it's suddenly, have you heard about castor oil, as if it were something new? And, God bless those people. I hope the castor oil works well for them. I hope they're not, taking it internally and not realizing that it's a massive laxative product, if taken that way. But it's just kind of interesting because I feel like the health food stores are so important to me. They're life-changing. You know, I won't go
Mhm.
into my personal story because we're trying to wrap this up, but it on Steve Langford's podcast, your neighbor up there on
Mhm.
Health Quest podcast, I did kind of go off on basically how health food saved my life because I was eating garbage and I walked into a health food store and some little hippie lady behind the counter, you know, this 30 plus years ago said, "Oh my God, what are you eating? You don't take vitamins? What the hell are you doing?" You know, and like taught me all of this stuff for free. There was no
Mhm.
like 1999, sign up for our crash course now or buy now. It was just like she would have talked to me and let me walk out the door without buying anything. And I
Mhm.
think that spirit of natural products is alive in your store, in many other stores that we're talking about and that we're networking with. And that's what we really want to keep alive, you know, is the spirit of helping other people with natural products. But we've got to protect, you know, the industry that got us here, because if we let just the wild west continue to devolve, I mean, it's going to be low quality products, yeah, at a low price, but you'll see people who go, "Ah, natural products don't work. I tried that stuff, it doesn't work," because they're just buying uh cheap products that don't work, you know.
Yeah, a sugar gummy.
Hey, I will say that I don't want to alienate absolutely every gummy manufacturer in the world. I will say I do think it's possible, and I've seen it done, to make effective gummy products. And I'm sure you have some too. You
Yeah, I mean, we sell, some gummies too. I'm kind of just joking, but
I
but
know,
no, I think but to your point though, if all the independent health food stores went out of business, let's just say we're gone, right? And the market is big box, the products that will be innovative and produced will go after the price point, the average price point at a big box store. That's going to be how products are going to be created. Um, I mean, I just want to just share again, this is just a personal opinion about this, but we're seeing our industry kind of get separated. And what I mean by that is even a natural chain is having a hard time trying to differentiate themselves as a natural chain, right? And so what I've seen is a lot of natural chains have almost morphed into a conventional food, drug, mass store. Why? And so they're carrying a lot of conventional products. You can't really tell if the grocery is organic or not organic. I mean, I'm almost looking at, I don't want to say the name, right? But I'm almost looking at blah, 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 big box store. I'm not looking at even though when I walk in the doors and it says the nice natural chain and they've got, the marketing logos and the green, and I feel like, they're using like wooden baskets, and it's just like, oh, I feel like I'm going in a health food store. And then I look at the products and it's like, oh, am I? I don't know. I feel like I'm in a conventional grocery store. And so with health food stores too, I think health food stores, they don't have $350 million just sitting in the back to become a food, drug, mass retailer. They don't have enough, like, they don't have $1 billion to make 5,000 stores, start selling gasoline at a discount, and sell cigarettes, and like make a photo print center, right? They don't have that bandwidth. They don't have that cash, right? So I think health food stores, they're going to go the opposite way. They're going to become much more specialty. They're going to become much more specialty. And I think instead of doing the volume of trying to sell to the masses, they're going to transition and transform into helping people more one-on-one, consulting, doing that sort of thing, and becoming much more specialty. That's just my personal opinion on that.
Well, and this may be a totally different conversation, and for the sake of time, but if all the independents got wiped out, and you're a broker, Rob, like what happens to the broker space? What happens to the distribution space, distributors? What happens to like what happens to the competition as well. Like how noisy does it get at the shelf level? What type of like if that happens, like how many of these products won't even exist? Even the point of sale systems, right? Like, I mean, imagine if there were no, imagine it as if the independent channel continues to shrink. What happens to
I
everybody
will
else?
say, I think Mike has, both of you made some great points, but I would close on this idea. And I think this is what I think natural product stores need to do to survive. They need to be ready to pivot. They need to be ready to turn on a dime. They need to be ready to drop fuel when they need to fly fast. And if that brand is not serving them well, this idea, and Mike, I know you've done this at store level. You're not afraid to, if not totally discontinue a brand that is no longer aligned with your store's values, you put them on the bottom shelf, right? And which
Yeah.
is, maybe having your cake and eat it too. Maybe that's really smart. Instead of featuring this brand that has pulled all my discounts, is partnering with big box, but not partnering with me, rather than putting them at eye level every day. I'm going to keep them around, a smaller, a diminished offering, and put it down on the bottom shelf so you don't lose those sales. You don't want to, what's the phrase, cut off your nose to spite your face. So a total boycott of brands that are doing these things might not be in the best interest of the store. In other words, if people are
Right.
so conditioned to buy these legacy products that are not what they once were, maybe you still offer some of them. But I like that idea of putting it on the bottom shelf. And I know what you're putting at eye level, and what I see on your end caps are, like you're saying, new and upcoming brands, the next wave, the next generation. That's how the industry stays fresh and aligned with core values.
Micah, what happens next after you put them on the bottom shelf? Please enlighten us
I get
all.
a phone call. I get a phone call, and they cry about it. And um,
But what happens
okay,
after
so
that? Where do
no,
they
no, no.
go? What happens? What happens after they hit the bottom shelf?
Well, okay, I just want
I
to
feel
say
like
this
it's only a
funny.
matter of time before what happens.
It's a funny question because I love my sales reps. They're not in control. They're not in control. They're doing their best. It's the leadership at the top of some of these brands. And um, so, they make a point, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? You're making tons of money with big box store A, big box store B, big online retailer C. What are you crying about? I don't get it.
They're
And
probably not
but they
getting
do.
paid on those big
Well, the
box
sales
stores.
rep isn't,
Oh,
right?
right, right. The
But
company,
it's very easy for a large company brand to hire an individual at, their headquarters, make a phone call to a key account and close, a $3 million sale with a, 5-minute phone call because they're talking to a person who controls the buying power of like, 3,000 stores. And the sales reps, right, who are in our region and other regions, they're working with a myriad of independents. But I think this is Billy's point too. I think I think that they don't want to say this, but they are very concerned about losing that shelf space because they are no longer front and center. Every single time it's on the shelf space, it's a form of advertisement for them. It's a moment in time where we can talk to the customer about the brand, about the product. And if they start losing that shelf space and that awareness and that eye level area, slowly over time, they're not going to be as trendy or as cool or as, whatever, right? But they're not going to be eye level anymore. They're not going to be in the top of mind. That's the problem. And so you could say, well, they're making tons of money at big box stores. Like, yeah, but what about the new products? Because the lifeblood of this industry is new products. And if stores stop bringing in new products, slowly over time, the sales of like their legacy great products will slowly kind of go away. And that's, I think, Billy's point is what do they do? If they take their foot out of the independent space and the door closes on them, they have a really hard time getting back in. One of the other brands mentioned this to me, which I thought was a very good quote. You take the stairs up, but you take the elevator down. And the point of that is you work really hard to get on that shelf space and you work really hard, but it's very easy to mess it up. And that's why you take the elevator down. And when you take the elevator down, when you lose your foot in the door, where do you go? When it doesn't work out with big box stores, Mars,
Not
emerging
only
markets,
you take the elevator down, there's no staircase. The
right,
staircase is gone when you get to the bottom.
And what
right.
about the escalator? Where does that fall in?
They're still working on that, Rob. It's under construction.
I think, you know, I would close on this note because we could talk all day,
Sure.
and I think this has been a great conversation, and this is kind of a great place to wrap it up. But I think, you know, the consumer needs to align their values with where they shop. I think it's almost the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? Nobody at a store wants to say, shop at my store because, you know, you're supporting people who really care and you're supporting your local community. I feel like more stores should be just guilting people into shopping at their store because it really
Shop
is.
local.
You know, what's that?
It's shop local. Whole Foods
Yeah.
crushed it off of that. And I'm going to say that they crushed it off of saying shop local. Like they stopped saying that. They did. It's like the independent channel should be saying shop local.
Yeah, it 100%. The number of store owners that have told me they have people walk in their doors and go like, thanks for the information. I'm going to go buy that online somewhere, you know, and the good ones, you know, will take them to task and will say, hey, listen, you know, we really need your support. You know, we offer, you know, we are competitive. We offer better prices than the internet if you really compare apples to apples, and those dollars stay in your community and they pay the salaries of those people you're looking at right here who are keeping this natural health community center basically open. So that's the message. I think, you know, no one store or store owner should be responsible for guilting everyone into shopping at their store, but we're all doing our part, you know, and I think it's a message that just people say it more and more, and it gets out there, you know, shop local. That's a great word, you know, statement that really, we'll just end it right there. Everybody, no matter what you're buying, should shop local. If you're buying natural products and you ostensibly care about the real voting with your dollar and protecting the environment, not putting harmful chemicals out into the, you know, into the atmosphere, then you really should be, if you shop natural, you should be shopping local. And that's a great way to save naturally. So,
Tying it all together. Rob, thank you so much, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you
gentlemen,
so much for having us.
it's been a pleasure. We'll have to do it again because obviously there is a lot more to cover.